Welcome to A Year in the Bible with Daily Grace. The Bible tells one big story of redemption, and we want to spend 5 minutes every day journeying through the Bible from start to finish and exploring how all of it points to Jesus.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to A Year in the Bible with Daily Grace. My name is Allie, and I'm one of the hosts of the podcast. Today, we'll be looking at James 4 and 5. Well, we learned in the last episode, which covered James chapters 1 through 3, that we should take care in the way we love others and that faith without works is dead. We're saved by God's grace and His grace alone. There is no other way. And even though our works don't save us, they show others the faith within us. We let others know that knowing Christ has changed us from the inside out, and we are to tell the world about Him and the good news of the gospel. James begins the 4th chapter by discussing pride and humility and the quarrels they incite. But God has called us to peace with each other, to build up and encourage one another in the faith. Instead, we too easily and often follow the ways of the world. We are proud and put others down, thinking more of ourselves than those around us, thinking more of ourselves than the Lord. James calls us to realize that we cannot follow after God and at the same time chase after the world and what it offers. It is one or the other. God is jealous for us, for our attention, and for our hearts to desire Him and Him alone. He then moves into another section of the chapter which discusses our will versus the sovereign will of God. He points out that we cannot know what a day will hold, and so to go about our days trusting that God holds each one in His hands. Our lives are like vapor, James says, and tomorrow is a mystery. May we stand with our hands open before God, submitting our lives and our will to His. For otherwise, we boast in our own arrogance that we rule our days, when it is He alone who does. Chapter 5 holds a warning to the rich, their money, their wealth, their possessions. None of them are eternal. They hold no worth in heaven. James urges the rich to right wrongs against those who labor for them, making sure to treat them fairly and give them their due. To lay up treasure on earth, keeping it for ourselves, is futile. We let these verses of chapter 5 remind us instead to lay up treasures in heaven. This is not to say that having money is wrong, but may we be careful and wise with it, giving it back to Christ, using it to serve others and pour into their lives rather than store it away for ourselves. James goes on to speak about waiting on the Lord, having patience when we would rather not wait. Yet we are reminded that the waiting on the Lord for His timing and for His return, that endurance strengthens our hearts. He instructs us on truthful speech, calling us to let our yes be yes and our no be no. And when we lift our voices up in prayer, we are to do so in every season, in joy and in sorrow and in praise, and crying out for God to work. He says that the prayer of a righteous person is very powerful in its effect. So let us be faithful in prayer, helping others to see the light of Christ as we let it shine through us. We can look at Jesus' life and see that He did all of these things well, and not just well, He did them perfectly. In humility, He honored His Father, the Lord, in a way that was sinless and pointed right back to God. And He obeyed the will of God. He served others, refusing to chase the riches this world has to offer. Christ was not weak as we are weak, for He was perfectly sinless. And in His perfect sinlessness, He died for us that we might have life everlasting. When we accept Jesus as our Savior, we receive His grace as a free gift to us. As we remember this wonderful truth, let us trust our God for all our days and every moment and every circumstance life brings. We can trust Him even when we aren't sure where or how He is working, because He promises in His word that He is, and the good works that He began in us, He will see them to completion on the day of His return, redeeming and restoring all that sin has torn apart. I am so glad that you were able to join us today. You can visit our website at thedailygraceco.com for lots of resources to help you learn more about God and His Word. If you enjoyed today's episode, will you take just a minute to leave us a rating or a review on iTunes to help more people find the show? Thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to talking with you tomorrow.